So these are preparations for the RNC?
Yeah.
Are you going down there?
Yes, I am. Johnny's going, Sarah, and Diane. Yeah.
You know, anti-war groups are coming in.
Right.
I've already started going down to work on the DNC.
Oh,
I just got back from Charlotte, where we made local TV station with our opening of our center to organize the coalition there.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a hand in this.
What did you do?
He's pretty modest.
He's a modest man.
Yeah, but he's right. He's right. It was a collective. It was a collective thing, and I worked on this. Hey, here we go.
I used to iron my shirts and stuff. Stop wearing those kind of shirts.
Is it okay if we talk?
Yeah, just be careful what you say because it's going to be on YouTube.
Oh yeah, well I hope so. I mean,
Don't curse.
yes, sir. I mean, with the APWU contract, I mean, I think that the reason, you know, like you're saying, like eating our young, I think it was fear. You know what I mean? I think like that's what the 70% vote meant. It's just that people were afraid and there was no alternative proposal put forward. And the, you know, the leadership, you know, approved this to send it to the membership. And so the membership and the lack of anything else, they were like, okay, you know, if this is, you know, the best deal that we're gonna get and the new folks are gonna get, you know, less, then all right.
When?
Oh, the APWU contract.
APW contract, May of 2011.
And it was basically the APWU. It's an industrial postal union, and they cover a bunch of different crafts, but it's mostly clerks and custodial staff and motor vehicle operators, right?
Yeah.
So you guys aren't members of it, or are you?
No, we're the letter carriers are a craft union. So
Right.
It's just city letter carriers, and then the mail handlers have their own craft union, which is just mail handlers, right?
Right.
And then the rural carriers have their own craft union, which is just rural carriers.
So was this a good contract or not?
No, it was. I mean,
Contract.
it was awful.
And now it's being used as a basis for arbitration with the other unions.
Oh, no.
The other unions wouldn't agree to a contract. They went to arbitration. And one contract has come down already of rural letter carriers, and it's pretty much a mirror of what the APWU took. They use it as a pattern.
Right.
So what the APWU did not only affected them, it affected the other three unions as well. We don't know. The mail handlers and the letter carriers are still. I think the mail handlers haven't arbitrated, so they might have a contract soon. And the letter carriers, I think, still have to select an arbitrator.
They agreed on the arbitration chairman. It's Shiloh Das, who is the Major League Baseball and Players Association arbitrator.
So what is the major thing that's wrong with it?
I mean, it's concessionary, and it basically follows the pattern that bosses are using across the country, where they're pitting career employees against the new hires. And so they told the APWU folks who are already in, saying, okay, you can keep your no layoff clause, but the new hires, 20% of them will be part-time and like, you know, flexible employees and transitional employees, and have less pay and benefits. And so
that's amazing. They're doing that across the board. They just did that with Con Ed.
that's right. Yeah. I mean, that is it seems like the two-tier tactic is, you know, it's what the auto workers union was part of the you know, government, you know, a negotiated deal where, you know, right now on assembly lines, you know, in Detroit, you know, you have two people on the assembly line doing the exact same job, and the one before is making $30 an hour, and the new hire is making $15. And an auto worker retiree is making more on their pension than a working auto worker as a result of the government negotiated, you know, like bailout or whatever it was called. And so it just seems like that was the cue, and like bosses across the country are following that. And now it comes to us as well. I mean, the rural carriers, their arbitration settlement just has a two-tier. It was imposed on them. The members didn't vote for it, but it's a two-tier contract. When new hires full-timers will make 10% less and pay more for healthcare. Part-timers will make 20% less and pay more for healthcare. You know what I mean? And like that seems to be the strategy, is that the folks who are working are afraid of losing what they have, and so they're willing, in the lack of an alternative or any kind of like fight back, they're willing to, you know, to give up the next generation. And like John said, like we're eating our children, and it's
Cannibalism.
right, absolutely, and it's going to doom the unions in the long run, because, you know, like we're all supposed to be equal sisters and brothers in the union, but like new hires aren't stupid, and they're going to be like, you know, like why am I making 20% less and have less rights than
So
you
that
do?
creates dissension.
That's right, divide and conquer, and you know, so in an open shop where people aren't required, you know, to join the union, you know, I think a lot of people will draw the conclusion, well then why should I join? Or if I'm a member, I'll quit. You know.
So union membership isn't compulsory then?
Not in the postal service.
What percentage are union members?
I don't know about overall. It's pretty high actually. I know for in the city letter carrier union, we're at 92% organized, which is pretty good for you know, for people who don't have to join. You know, and John, are you familiar with how well organized the rest of the unions are?
I think you guys have the highest percentage. I think APWU and mail handlers are like in the 80s,
Okay.
84%, something like that.
Right.
You guys have traditionally been the best organized.
Right.
Letter carriers. Well,
Right.
you're the oldest.
Right.
1889. They
Right.
started. Two really great things in it. One is you can't be you used to be able to access them 300 miles, and now
Yeah,
it's
something
50.
Right, but if there's a catch, it's 50
Yeah.
unless they can't find
Unless
another
they can't
spot,
find it.
and then it's 100, and then if they
Yeah.
can't find a spot, then it's
Yeah.
150.
So that was their big selling point. You can't be accessed. And the other great selling point that it had was, well, we preserved the no layoff clause.
Right.
The ink was not dry on that contract
Right.
when Patrick R. Donahue went to get some congressmen to introduce a bill to abrogate the no layoff clause.
Right.
But what they do? They sold their birthright for a mess of pottage.
Right, that's right.
And it affects an injury to one is an injury to all. That's the thing. It's not our union and your union
Right.
and his union and the other guy who's not organized. We're all workers.
That's right.
We're all in this together.
That's right.
You know, and we have to think not always what's going to affect. Like this Caterpillar contract. That's going to hurt an awful lot of other people.
That's right.
And so is what Carnet accepted.
That's
you know,
right.
what the utility workers accepted.
The thing is, like, you need a contract campaign. You know what I mean? The rank and file membership needs, you know, to put out its own ideas about what if they approve the contract or if they disapprove of, you know, if they're encouraging their sisters and brothers to vote no or to vote yes. It's essential, I think, for rank and filers to actually think about it and discuss it and debate it. And you know, and that culture has been destroyed. Where so basically, like the leadership, you know, says that this has our approval, and they basically, you know, sometimes don't even give you very much time to look it over. You know what I mean? So many people, if they read anything at all, they'll read like the magazine article, which is the leadership saying, hey, this is the best that we can do. And, you know, they're afraid, you know, of losing what they have, and so they'll vote for it. And so you can get like a high percentage of people voting for it. But what's really essential, I think, to get a good contract is to actually have that like democratic debate and organization. You know, like.
What do you think of mail-in ballots then?
I mean, I think the mail-in ballots are fine. You know.
The MTA since January the 15th. And I know a lot of guys in TW 100 that are not happy that the leadership is not calling mass meetings.
Right.
I don't think you have to have a vote at a meeting. I think mail-in ballot is more democratic for various reasons. But I think you need mass meetings when you're discussing the contract before you mail out the ballots.
That's right.
You have to have
That's
mass
right.
meetings. They're not having them.
That's right.
I haven't seen any big rallies with TWU lately either. You know, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
It seems like the unions are rolling over and saying, yeah, whatever you want to do. You know?
I mean, I think that the ideal is to have a mass meeting and to have a voice vote in public with your sisters and brothers. This way, it's you know people are held accountable, and you raise your hand or whatever. So this way, you can address the person instead of like the atomized, individualistic secret ballot. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think that mail ballots are fine, but like you're saying, it has to have that democratic, you know, like like guts to it, of an actual like meeting with your coworkers where you can argue and you know what I mean, and be accountable.
Thing.
Absolutely.
Bad thing.
Yep.
Right.
Very bad thing, because they can play you off and whipsaw you one against the other.
That's right.
I always thought the IWW had the right idea. One huge union. The postal unions, not only should they have merged, they should have merged into the CWA. They had the opportunity to merge into the CWA 40 years ago. The CWA there would welcome it with open arms.
Right.
They had to get them together among themselves first, and it was the NALC that put the monkey wrench in it and would not agree to merge with the APWU so they could go into the CWA. That would have been great if we were in the CWA. Can you imagine if you had telephone workers, 1180 representing administrative staff and all the various newspaper guild, because they're part of the CWA, the broadcast technicians, NABET, they're part of the CWA. It would have been a really great industrial union. You know, you would have had 500, at that time, 750,000 postal workers in the union too. Never happened.
Well, I mean, but that's how they do it. That's how they did it in Britain, right? Where all the Royal Mail workers are part of the Communication Workers Union, and so they can't play you like this, like you're a dinosaur technology or whatever. You can actually, like, even if that argument was true, you could be like, okay, well, where are the openings in these other communication technologies? So, like, let's get some retraining and let's open jobs up, somewhere else.